Hey guys, Dan the Man here, and today we're gonna look at the Sapphire rx580 8 GB nitro version. And what we're gonna do is that we're gonna open it up, clean it, and apply thermal compound on it and make it better, basically give it, like, let's say, take yes loving, just like the guy says. Anyways, but this time it's gonna be Dan yes loving. But anyways, without further ado, let's start. So as you can see, we got like 10 screws in here that are holding the back plate. We need to undo that. There's like 10 of them, and there are 2 small screws in there, not sure what they're for, but we need to undo them probably as well, and 4 screws that are actually holding on the GPU. And that's where basically it is attached to the frame and cooling system. So let's open it up and I'll come back to you guys in a bit. So after you unscrewed the screws from the graphics card, you'll end up with 4 different types of screws. I said 3 in the beginning because I didn't know what was under it, basically, or in there. So there are 2 smaller ones in here, as you can see. These 2 were actually here, so you need to remember to put them there. One in there, another one in there. The rest of them would go here, 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 and here, and there. And there are 3 small ones that go across the board, like here, here, and there. And 4 main ones that are basically holding the GPU die together. There is one in here, one in here, one in there, and another one in there. So it's like 4 of them. So anyways, once you unscrew them, this should come off with a very gentle bit of force, because it has these things behind it that kind of suck the air in. It's like they suck the air into them. So basically, it doesn't let it come off that easy. You need to be gentle with it a bit, play with it, or play around with it. It will come off. Okay. But before actually moving on to other things, there is one fan you need to detach in there. And you have another fan in here that you need to detach. Once you've detached the fans, it will come off. Just like that. And as you can see, it's very nasty and dusty under it in here. I need to actually clean it. So anyways, I'll clean that and I'll put this aside. Now, here you have the actual heat spreader or the heat sink. So this thing's actually pretty much actually like attached to the main board. There are lots of nasty stuff in there. I don't know if you can see. So the best way that you could take it off is you need a little bit of gentle push from here, a little bit of from there, and it will eventually come off because no screws are attached to it. As you can see, some of the thermal pads got a bit messed up, but I can reuse them. They're not bad. They're not in a bad condition. And here we can see everything in there. That's the actual GPU die, and the thermal compound is completely dry. It's like rock dry. It's like soil, basically. So we're gonna apply thermal compounds. First, we're gonna clean it with a toothbrush. We're gonna clean all over the board. If you have multi-purpose spray, or if you have alcohol or something like that, you can use it to clean it. If not, then you can just use basically this or compressed air. I don't have any of those things. I'm just going to use an old useless toothbrush to clean all over it, the fan and everything, and then we'll apply thermal compound. Hey guys, so as you can see, we have all the parts in here. I've cleaned them truly very well. So not all the parts, actually. The fan is here, but anyways, so it's like 4 different parts, including the back plate of the graphics card. So I've cleaned it truly. So as you can see here, we have the fan in here. You can clean the back, around it, everywhere with a toothbrush. Make sure it's well clean and stuff, and there's no dust in there at all. Same thing with the heat spreader. You could actually wash this. I mean, if you wanted to wash it, you could wash it. It's doable. I mean, that's something you can do. Or you could just go through it like a toothbrush, or like any sort of brush that you have that can go through these basically aluminum or whatever copper that this thing is made of. And you can get rid of the dust. You can dust it. Make sure you don't dust it in your room. Dust it somewhere outside. But you could wash it if you wanted to. And here we have the actual GPU itself. You could also go through everywhere, get rid of all the dust around it or behind it or wherever that you could have dust. Make sure there's no dust nowhere on this GPU at all. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually apply some thermal compound in here and then some in here. And then we put it together. So get your thermal paste ready. Apply some in there. Make sure you put a good amount in there. Maybe a bit there and then round it a bit too. Because you know it's got a very huge heat spread there, and when I opened it up we had thermal compounds all over it, so I just want to make sure it gets enough of it. Too much of it wouldn't hurt, but not way too much that would flood all over the heat spreader and everything else around it. So what we're gonna do is actually we're gonna put the heat spreader on it, and we're gonna turn it around to make this match the holes that we had before. Okay, good, solid. It's matching all the holes in there perfectly fine. So now we're gonna put all the screws back in there. So these four were the ones that were holding your GPU together. We're gonna put them together first. We can put the heat spreader after it basically. Okay, there we go, one done. I don't want this video to be very long, so I'm trying to make it as short as possible. So try to go one here, one there, like a zigzag kind of thing. Once that's done, put the heat spreader on it. Once the heat, but don't screw it yet. Turn it the other way around, put the fans on it, connect the fans, and then turn it the other way around and put the heat spreaders on it. So to make sure that you got everything ready and everything can be it's ready basically to go the fan, and then put the heat spreader and then screw it all together, it will be all done. But don't forget to do all the screws. I'm gonna cut the video, put it all back together, and I'll come back to you guys in a bit later. So now I've put everything back together, but before putting the back plate on, I made sure I put on the fan, and then you match it with the back plate together, because the back plate is actually holding on the fan. The back plate, the front fan is being held by basically the back plate right here. And then I screwed all the screws, and there are 3 small screws in there, and everything is good to go. And now this feels like a solid graphics card. Now I'm gonna actually try to put it in my PC and see how much of a lower how much lower temperatures I'm gonna be getting. So anyways, if this was helpful guys, don't forget to subscribe. See you guys in another video.